B-Man is back.
Oh, okay, Jay, boys, try it again. Oh my gosh, the ring got messed up. This is a 5 out of freaking 5.
It is beat making time.
Next week is E3 week. My album comes out next week. I have delivered.
Something is true, something but oh, look at that, my God.
This is your boy. Alright, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy Dash the True Inferno. And yes, we are just a few days away from college football. Yes, this is the time of the year I can't wait for when football comes back, especially the college level, because every game is important. If you lose one, more than likely you are not playing for the championship game. And if it's not 1, then it's 2. If it's not 2, then it's 3. So much is on the line with each game, and I love it. Now, and this is why college football got the best regular season out of any other sport, pros or college. The postseason, it was lackluster rather, with the BCS fiasco, but they got rid of that crap, and now they got a college football playoff where only 4 teams can get in the playoff. And then, you know, out of the 4, it's the 2. Then whoever wins that one wins it all. So here's my prediction, starting with the AAC, which stands for, what the hell does that stand for? I think it stands for the All-American Conference, something like that. Where really, for the most part, rather, it's a unimportant conference because no one from that conference is going to play in the will make the playoff really. But I still got to do predictions for every conference out there. So let's get into it. So the first one, like I said, is the AAC, not the ACC. There's a difference, but the AAC. And in that one, I got Houston out of the rest, winning that division, knocking off Temple out of the East in a rematch from last year's AAC Conference Championship game. And Houston wins the AAC. Now, I said that one was somewhat important because Houston starts this year off being ranked. So they are ranked 15th. And I'll get a little bit more in their schedule later on. Now we get to the ACC. So out of there, and this one's going to be interesting because this will have Clemson, Florida State, Louisville, North Carolina, Pitt, Georgia Tech, and so many others. So, oh yeah, the AAC, the American Athletic Conference, that's what it stands for. While the AAC stands for the American, what's that drink called? I don't remember. I forgot what the AC stands for, but whatever. Anywho, now let's take a look at this though. Starting off with the Atlantic Division, it's really gonna come down between Clemson, Florida State, and Louisville. So Clemson got a road game against Florida State, but they got Louisville at home, and that's really their 2 toughest games. So they could get 1 or 2 losses before the conference title game. Louisville got LSU at home, but they got going on the road against Houston. And Florida State got Ole Miss in a neutral field. Louisville on the road, North Carolina, Clemson, and Florida at home. But the fact that Florida State got all them teams, though, all of them ranked, by the way, is pretty crazy. So, and like I said, Louisville got to go on the road. I'm going with Clemson to win the Atlantic. Now, as far as the Coastal, it's going to come down to North Carolina and Pitt. Now, North Carolina got Georgia at a neutral field, and they got to go on the road against Florida State. Both of those games don't matter in division play. Pitt, meanwhile, got back-to-back road games against Oklahoma State and North Carolina, and they got a road game against Clemson as well. I got to go with North Carolina. So I got Clemson defeating North Carolina to once again win the ACC. Now, moving on to the Big 12. The Big 12 was lit last year down the stretch as it came down to 4 teams, and they were playing against each other to end the season. And we're talking Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, TCU, and Baylor. It was crazy last year. So Oklahoma, who are currently ranked 3rd in the AP Top 25 polls, they got, let me look at their schedule real quick, 5 ranked opponents. 3 of them are in their first 4 games, but they got 1 out of those 5. One of them is on the road against TCU, and they get Houston, as I mentioned earlier, on a neutral field. TCU got both Oklahoma and Oklahoma State at home, but they got Baylor on the road, giving them 3 ranked opponents. Oklahoma State also got 3 ranked opponents. Bad news for them, they're all on the road. Baylor, Oklahoma, and TCU. And speaking of Baylor, they got a road game against Oklahoma, but they got Oklahoma State and TCU at home. And because of that one game, TCU got Oklahoma at home and Oklahoma State at home. And I believe Baylor, a lot of people believe Baylor going to free fall this year. I'm one of them. And they got the other two tough opponents at home. I got TCU winning the Big 12. More on TCU later. Uh-oh. But anywho, let's move on from the Big 12 to the Big 10. And this one's near and dear to my heart. So here we go. Starting with the East Division. Michigan, they got Michigan State, Ohio State, and Iowa on the road, unfortunately. Those are their three toughest games. And they're all ranked against ranked opponent. But Michigan got one of, if not the best defense in the nation. And most of their offense will be back aside from the quarterback. And more likely, they got that quarterback scenario in check. Oklahoma State, meanwhile, got Oklahoma, as I mentioned already. No, I did not mention that already. They got to deal with Oklahoma. I believe that's on the road. Yeah, Oklahoma and Michigan State, they got both of them on the road. And even though they got Michigan at home, but they got to play against Michigan State and Michigan back-to-back weeks to end the regular season. That's going to be too much for them. Michigan State, meanwhile, they got to deal with Notre Dame on the road, but they got Michigan and Ohio State at home, but they lost a lot of players. And despite all that, I still got Michigan winning the East, and Iowa going to win the rest. Like, that's a no-brainer. And overall, I got Michigan defeating Iowa to win the Big 10. More on them later. Uh-oh. Conference USA. Okay, I got Southern Miss out of the West Division over Middle Tennessee out of the East Division. So there you go with that. As far as the MAC, I got Western Michigan out the West, defeating Bowling Green out the East. Mountain West Conference. That's it. Yeah, okay. Boise State, I got them out the Mountain Division to face San Diego State out of the West Division. Now, this is tough, okay? Everybody predict these two to square off, but the majority of people are picking San Diego State. I'm going to go against everybody and pick Boise State, because Boise State have always been one of my favorites because of the underdog factor as far as them trying to get in and play for and win a national championship. So I got Boise State winning the Mountain West, but more likely they're not going to make the playoff. Pac-12 action. This is going to be interesting. Now, first and foremost, Stanford's winning the North. That's automatic. That's all day. Now, the South, some people may go come down to UCLA and USC, but let's be real here. Have you seen their schedules? UCLA got Stanford and USC as their only toughest opponents that, they got to deal with all year long. And they get both of them at home. And obviously Stanford and USC are both ranked. USC, on the other hand, got Alabama to start the year. That's at a neutral field. They got to go to Stanford. Then they got to end the season 4 straight weeks against the likes of all ranked opponents. Oregon at home, Washington on the road, UCLA on the road, and Notre Dame at home. Really? Come on now. Who got the better schedule here? That's UCLA. So UCLA, I got them winning the South, but I got Stanford out in the North winning it all, winning the Pac-12 Conference Championship. Moving on to the SEC. A little bit of foreshadowing with that Pac-12 talk. Moving on to the SEC. Now, this is going to be interesting because the East and the West are going to be competitive. In the East, it's Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee. Tennessee's schedule look like this. They got Florida at home. Then they got to go to Georgia in back-to-back games, and they get Alabama at home. Florida, meanwhile, has got to go to Tennessee and Florida State, although, really? Come on now. Florida State, that's an in-state game right there. You really going to consider that a road game for Florida? It's more like a neutral field to me. But anywho, moving on. And they get LSU at home. And, of course, there's the, what's that thing called? The Florida-Georgia cocktail party or something like that. That will take place at a neutral field that they do every year between Florida and Georgia. So, yeah, there you go with that. Speaking of Georgia, they got North Carolina at a neutral field. And then they got to go on the road to Ole Miss. And then they get Tennessee at home. And I already mentioned them playing against Georgia. And I got Tennessee. It's a tough one, but I got Tennessee winning the East. Meanwhile, let's go over to the rest. Oh, my God. So, first off, we got to start with everybody's favorite Alabama would be the blah, blah. Yeah. They got USC at a neutral field. But then here's where things get interesting. They got Ole Miss, Tennessee, and LSU on the road. And those 4 games will be their toughest games, obviously. LSU, meanwhile, got a road game against Florida. And that's their only toughest road game because they get Ole Miss and Alabama at home. Although both of them will be back-to-back. And then, speaking of Ole Miss, they got Florida State in a neutral field. They get Bama and Georgia at home in back-to-back weeks. And they ultimately get LSU on the road. Who had the better schedule here? Yeah, I know Alabama's the favorite to some degree. But I'm going with LSU to not only win the rest, but to defeat Tennessee, who I got winning the East, to win the SEC. More on them on the second. Sun Belt Conference, I got, how you even pronounce this college? Appalachian State, I guess. Yeah, we'll go with that. Now, we got to, oh gosh, yes, unfortunately, I got to talk about Notre Dame. Because they do not belong in a conference. They are a very prestigious college. They are one of the most winningest programs in the nation. Behind, of course, you know who, my boys go blue. But we still have to talk about them because they could potentially get in the college football playoff since they're going to start the year. We're at the number 10 spot. Yeah, you know, I don't like talking about Notre Dame. I don't like talking about Alabama. I do not like talking about Michigan State. And I for damn sure do not like talking about Ohio State. But that's another story for another day. Let's see. Notre Dame got two. Let me see. No. They got a road game against USC, lost. They got 2 home games, Stanford and Michigan State. I see them losing to Stanford, but I see them beating Michigan State. Therefore, I see Notre Dame going 10-2 this year and not making the playoff. Now, which brings up the question of who does make the playoff? Well, number 1, I got LSU. I think LSU, with their schedule, again, their only really tough schedule outside of course, Alabama. I mean, that's always going to be tough. But they get Alabama at home. I think they're going to beat Florida on the road. LSU, bottom line, wins the table and goes undefeated straight into the playoff. That's the number 1 seed for me. Number 2 seed is TCU, another team I see running the table because TCU got Oklahoma and Oklahoma State at home. Both games will be tough, especially that Oklahoma game, but I think they will win the both because they're at home. Baylor's on the decline, so I see them winning that one, and everybody else is like, eh. And that's it. Those 3 games are the toughest games. So I see TCU winning the table, going undefeated. Now, Clemson, remember I said they were going to lose 1 to 2 games, and I see them losing to FSU, and and maybe somebody else surprised them or something. I don't know. I doubt it, but they bounce back. They win their division because of some tiebreaker fiasco. I do not see I do not see FAU beating Louisville, going on the road and beat Louisville. I don't see that happening. So I got Clemson winning that division, that conference, somehow get in the playoff at the number 3 spot. Who gets the number 4 spot? Michigan. Yes, you heard me right. Michigan. So that means no Pac-12 team makes the playoff for the 2nd straight year. Because I see Michigan losing to Iowa, and that's it. I can see them going on the road and beat Michigan State because Michigan State lost a lot of players. I see them beating Ohio State because Ohio State going to give it their all against Michigan State the week prior. So, and that's right there, easy pickings for Michigan to bounce on them and win that division. And not to mention, if they go by tiebreaker rules, Oklahoma will beat Ohio State and Notre Dame will beat Michigan State. So, bam, there you go with that. So those are my 4 teams who I got going. Now let's start off with the semifinal. Peach Bowl, Michigan. Well, LSU, number 1 ranked LSU rather, against number 4 ranked Michigan. I got Michigan winning this one because of their defense. I'm gonna go with that. The Fiesta Bowl, that would be number 2 TCU against number 3 Clemson. I got Clemson winning that one. As much as originally I was gonna pick TCU, but Clemson with their offense and their quarterback, it's kind of hard for me to go against them. If that was to happen, I will be rooting for TCU all the way. Because just like Boise State, TCU is another one of those underdog teams that I want to see play for and ultimately win a national championship. Granted, they had to basically sell their soul and join a actual BCS conference, or not, well, it's not called BCS, an actual major conference, while Boise State stuck with their guns and stayed in a minor conference. But nevertheless, I still want TCU to win a national championship. It just won't happen this year because they're going to get put out by Clemson in the Fiesta Bowl, which sets up the national championship game. And come on now, y'all really expect me to pick against Michigan? And I don't care what sport it is. Defense wins championships. And as I said earlier, Michigan got one up, if not the best defense in the nation. And yes, Clemson probably have one up, if not the best offense in the nation. Defense wins championships. So yes, I got, and this is probably like an unbiased pick. But I mean, I don't care. I got Michigan winning it all. Knock it off Clemson. So yeah, those are my picks, man. Now next week, it's the pros. Yes. NFL picks. Oh man, I can't wait for that because a lot of quarterbacks in the NFC are getting injured. Teddy Bridgewater, Tony Romo. So things are looking interesting for my Detroit Lions. Will they make the playoffs? And they got an easy schedule. Not the easiest, damn you, Green Bay, but it's an easy schedule. So can the Lions make it playoffs? Find out. See what I predict. But yeah, man, y'all know who this is. This is the new Jay Gatsby, a.k.a. the new Stephen A. Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Oh! So now we have gone from consoles versus PCs to consoles fusing with PCs. So you're probably wondering, wait, what are you talking about fusing? Well, what I mean is consoles are now moving their games, like Sony and Microsoft. They are taking their games and putting them on PCs. Yes, on the computer. So in case you were living under the rock, you should have seen E3 this year, and it was all started with Microsoft. They basically announced that their exclusives